Welcome to WO50, Women Over 50 Embody Wisdom and Wellness.
Oh, I know you embody wisdom and wellness, my BFF, Eddie. My name is Corrine, and I'm here with my friend of many years, Eddie, Dr. Eddie Kenny. And our topic this week was more bang for your muck. And it's really about cash back on your inner world, the importance of knowing yourself, your inner world, your also your exterior, like where your attention goes, energy flows.
Yeah, your investments into yourself.
Yeah. And we also talked about the kind of the healthcare system and the importance of looking into, so yes, we exercise, we eat healthy, but also seeing your doctor regularly and doing your checkups. And I thought that was a good part of our conversation.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Thanks, Ed. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as we did.
We sure did.
Well, hello, Eddie.
Hello, Ken. How are you?
I'm like so excited. I'm going to see you in 2 more sleeps. I can't even believe it. I haven't been. I mean, I saw you. I was so lucky. We got to spend March and June together.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't been to Newfoundland in 6 years, I think.
I know. You're going to love it. It's still so beautiful, but bring your warm duds now. It's starting to cool down. It'll soon be October. It's right.
Should I bring my Uggs? I was contemplating to bring Uggs or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can wear the ones you gave me if you want while you're here, but I might be wearing them a lot.
That's, you love those. I wanted them so bad.
Yeah.
I've been searching for those specific Uggs for like 8 years. They're my favorite kind of Uggs that are tall, that have the little white stuff. And I found them on like eBay or Etsy or something. They look in great shape. And then I got them and they were a little too big for me and they fit you
perfectly.
Perfect. And I let you wear them and I'm like, fuck.
You went, I don't know if I should let you wear these or not. And I'm like, oh, you got to let me wear these. These are exactly the kind of Uggs I love. And they have little beads hanging off the side. And you're like, it took me so long to find them. And I put them on. I'm like, these swim on you. These are way too big for you. Yeah. That was my way of going. I'll buy them from you. You're like, I got them for a good deal. No, you're not buying them.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she gave them to me.
And that's what we do.
And
that's
my
what we do.
Boots.
I know. I'm so glad you enjoy them so much. Okay, so I'll bring I've got like, I usually buy a pair of Uggs every year, like once a year. So I've got like 5 pairs or so in different styles.
Wow. Okay.
And so I've got a few choices, but I've got my little favorite ones. So,
well, there's nothing ugly about Uggs, is there? They should sponsor us.
Do you know where Uggs came from? Where they were created and why?
Australia?
They did come from Australia because they were originally sheepskin, which hopefully they still are. Some of them are made in China these days, was not as good a quality, but they were originally from Australia. The surfers wore them because they're excellent on the beach to wear after surfing because sand falls off the suede.
Oh, wow.
Right. And it's warm when their toes are cold from surfing.
That's so smart.
Yep. So that's originally where Uggs came from, in case you didn't know.
I love them so much. Mm-hmm. So that's great. So when we do the yoga retreat, I'll be going around in Uggs.
Yes. But not for the hike because they don't have enough support for hiking.
No, not yet. They're making a variety of shoes though.
Yeah.
So how was your week? How are you doing?
I'm good.
You've been investing in yourself?
I have been investing in myself. I've been actually seeing the doctor, which I never usually do. Like me, I'm the opposite. Like I've been paying for health insurance for many years now, and I never go to the doctor ever. I'll go, I don't even have a GP, but I found this nurse practitioner because I needed to get my elbow x-rayed just in case, because I still can't straighten my arm. Actually, it's been
from
like
that nasty little fall.
Yeah. And, but I learned so much. So she was amazing. And I got an x-ray. I went to ortho and I did fracture my radial bone, close to my elbow, but the ortho did say it is healing nicely. And he said, I can send you to physical therapy. And I went to the physical therapist just down the hall that same day. And they said, oh my gosh, your mobility is great. You just need to I said, well, why can't I straighten my arm? And they said, well, you've been holding it like this for 8 weeks. So the muscles tighten up quickly. And so they gave me some stuff. So I'll be doing a few of those things on our trip that we're coming up to.
Good. Yes, we got so much planned. We have a retreat. We have a concert up here in Newfoundland, some music we're doing, some
Oh,
friends.
and I had a pap smear.
Oh, good.
I haven't
That's a
had a
good investment in yourself.
Eddie, I haven't had one in 8 years.
Shh, don't tell anybody that.
Well, you know what? I used to have them every year, of course. I used to have them every year. And then
Yeah.
when I went into menopause, I'm like, why do I didn't think I needed it anymore. I don't think you need it
Yeah.
as often.
Yeah. Well, you do, no matter what action is going on down there. It is good. We get older, our skin gets older, we get sometimes spots on our skin and they sometimes have to be burned off. Well, when they do pap smears, sometimes there's funny little things show up.
How'd you know I had a polyp?
I don't know,
You
because that
just, I
happens.
didn't even
Look,
tell you. I don't think
no,
I've ever had a polyp on my cervix. She said it
no.
was like my cervix was sticking its tongue out at her. She said,
Oh, great. Oh my gosh. Everyone listening, get that out of your mind. Wipe it clean. Wipe it clean. Shh.
well, I figure we're mostly ladies listening to this, and this is a topic that we need to talk about, you know?
Well, it is. It's like, we take skin tags off and people get sun damage and skin cancer. Well, this is just more shedding of cells and they can pick up stuff. You do get a pap smear done. I recommend women definitely every 3 to 5 years. If there's any
Mhm.
polyps now, you might want to go every year, every couple of years.
Mhm.
If there's dysplasia, there's lots of HPV viral things out there now.
Well,
Women
I
are
haven't had sex in quite a while, so there's
I know.
nothing
Well,
like
but
that
you
going
know
on.
what? Even that, like even that knowing that when women are on their second marriages or they're dating again or things like that, like we don't know these little viruses everywhere. I mean, my goodness, if COVID can travel the planet
Yeah.
as fast as it did, just imagine HPV. So the pap smears are one of the most preventative things you can do to just to check that inner investment in yourself, and it's
Yeah.
literally inner.
Inner, it's really inner
Yeah.
and an inner and intimate.
Yes, and as we get older, that basement gets dry and you have to tend to the basement.
Yes. You got me
And
all
then
kinds of creams that work.
there's all kinds of creams and there's options, and you just gotta, you know, talk to someone about it. We don't have to suffer. And women get yeast infections. Women get older and get UTIs,
And
urinary
you get
tract infections.
thinning skin down there. I think what's that? Is that called
Absolutely.
something
Absolutely.
in your vagina? You get thin skin.
Yeah,
Is
the
that?
mucous membrane gets thin, just like our lips on we have two. Dr. Anna Quebeca says we have two sets of lips we have to tend to. Very important. Keep them hydrated. So,
There you go.
as
Yeah,
we
because
get older,
yeah, and I was, especially if you're not in a relationship or you're not dating sexual. I mean, I have not had sex in
shh, don't.
six
What you say?
years,
What? No.
something like that, which I'm fine with. I mean, I went 5 years in my 30s without having sex. It was totally fine. But what happens is then you're not as sort of in tune as much with that whole area that's so important to keep it healthy. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I
Well,
did that.
there's the saying, out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
but it is a part of our body that we tend to. And people say to me all the time, with tests, what's the two most important that are huge preventative and add to longevity in our life, and that's pap smears and often colonoscopies, because
right, which
there's
I did
another
that
place
too.
we form polyps and
Mm-hmm.
tumors and cysts, and yeah, it's another inner investment. So if
Mm-hmm.
there's colon cancer in the family, Crohn's, colitis, celiac, IBS, we want to keep a check on our gut check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Our
Okay.
bowels, our reproductive systems, it's all important. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Get your stuff taken care of. I do a lot of prevention and I am very healthy, but
yes.
I don't go to the doctor very easily, very often, obviously. And
Yeah.
um, it was much a better experience than I remembered. Like I was scared to kind of step into it because I mean, just the health system all over the world is just such a mess right now.
It's all
But
changing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there, you can't get a doctor anymore, but you can get a nurse practitioner, which I was
Yeah.
fine with the nurse practitioner as long as
Mm-hmm.
they could order me the x-ray, which she could. So I found this freaking amazing nurse practitioner who's a
Yeah, they're
rock star.
great.
She ordered, like, Eddie, you told me all the a hormone panel that you wanted me, and all the metabolism and inflammation markers and thyroid that you wanted me to get, which she wouldn't have known. And she was fine with it. She goes, okay, tell me what you want. She goes, now you're going to have somebody that reads this, because she said, these are stuff I'm not familiar with. But she went ahead and ordered it all for me.
Excellent.
And then when I went to the hormone pharmacist today, the compounding pharmacist with it, I told her, I said, listen, I'm leaving for 5 weeks. And so it needs to happen fast. Like, he's got to send it to you. You've got to send in the prescription back. So they all know, and they were all on board, and I'll be able to pick it up tomorrow. I mean, it happens so fast. Even like, I went for my x-ray 2 weeks ago, and I've already seen the ortho and physical therapy, which, I don't know if you probably how familiar you are, but when I spend time with my sister in Vancouver, it's like not a good situation to get in to see a doctor. And everything takes
it's
time.
different. It's different everywhere. And it depends on your doctor, and it depends on your history with the person. Like, things are changing now. Some doctors are retiring. There's new doctors coming into the field. And, years ago, you'd have that one doctor that followed you for everything. He knew the family, he knew the history, he knew, and he would be the one to suggest, have you had your pap smear? Now, your father had this. Have you done your colonoscopy?
Yeah, he knew that because he knew your dad.
Yes. Well, he would offer up all that beautiful information, and we go, well, I need, and they convince you to do it. Where now you really have to be responsible. You have to take your own health care into your own hands. You're the one, your doctor is there, and you just, we don't walk in and go, hello, what can you do for me? We walk in going, I've got this going on. And we've done some research now, because a lot of people are getting on the computer, or they're talking to people about certain things. So we have to become, the big advocate for our own health. We have to do the investing. We have to take the time. What is it? That's what our talk's about.
Our talk is about, which we kind of, this is a good topic too, which I'm glad we spent time navigating the healthcare system and embracing wherever we're at, whether Canada, the US, and navigating, and just being patient, no expectations, and just patience is key, I think, these days. But yeah, our topic today, the title you came up with is more bang for your muck.
Yeah.
Which is like, we are going to be talking about where your attention goes, energy flows. So wherever you put your time and your attention is your most valuable commodity.
Yep.
Especially as you get older. But I think it's always that way, whatever you put your time and attention on. Yes. And so, and I'm also, we both are, but I'm definitely a big advocate for the inner work. And the way I sort of wanted to talk about this was I hosted a relative of my roommate the other day, and she was, she's interested in all this stuff, but hasn't really invested a lot of time in it. Right. And she's now getting ready to retire in a few years. So she's thinking more about how she's going to spend her time, and more about her relationships and how her, with her family and that. And she at one point she said to me, it's so hard. This stuff is so hard, and it takes so much time, like so much time. And I'm like, girl, how much time have you spent like running and working out and on your body, and preparing food for yourself, and work for money? You've spent like half your life working, or more than half your life.
And she was referring to yoga and meditation and the inner work.
Yeah.
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 And you put so much time and energy, and it's not been efforting. It's just been your life, as I have put into food, right? Someone else is putting that into weightlifting or running. So
yeah.
We
put it time in whatever we value. I think I've mentioned this before, because it's what I learned long ago when I try to find how to motivate people. Because people will come to me, but then helping to motivate them and get unstuck is a whole other issue, because they might have the desire, but it's like they're still, to get unstuck is a tough thing. So I have to somehow help them value it, because we will spend time and energy on whatever we value. And so
what do you value? Yeah.
Yeah. What do you value? That's your first question. Now, what the thing is it's blueprint. We all have, like, I know I've worked with people before who they don't realize that their health is important to them, because they don't certainly spend any time on it. you know, like I've got some people that don't spend any time on their health or their inner wealth, you know, either one. But then when I write down their values and what's important to them, they say that it is important. I'm like, well, if your health and your well-being is important to you and you're not spending any time on it, the equation doesn't work.
Yes, because
right?
often it's just taken for granted.
Yeah.
It's just taken for granted.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always going to be there. No, it's not. You have to develop everything you watch. I mean, even this, the blue zones, everyone was trying to stay healthy, stay active, stay motivated. They were developing like healthy habits, right? It was just becoming part of your daily life.
Yeah.
So when we take for granted our health, and then something out of the blue, people say it all the time. Oh, I turned 50. I turned 60. The bottom fell out of it.
Yeah.
What were you doing up until then to prevent the bottom falling out of it? You know, what was your muck?
Yeah.
What was the muck? Even family genetics, even, when people do the genetic studies, there's always this blueprint there. Our parents give us a health blueprint, a wellness or illness. But they throw, it's like juggling, there's diabetes and there's heart disease and cancer. And, I have people, they say, well, you're going to die of something. My older brother used to say, oh, Eddie, look at her over there. We'll go to see her and everybody be crying. And then they'll say, what'd she die of? And I'll say, nothing. She died for nothing.
She died of nothing.
She died of nothing.
So healthy.
Yeah. I don't even think she's going to die. It's like, well, the body. So, which is another topic, but it's, looking at, okay, I got some of these ideas now. My father had different things. My mother, my brothers and sisters suffer with different things. Okay. So that just gives me a little heads up, but health has always been important to me. Fitness has been important. Staying well. It's funny, I never told you this, but yesterday I played pickleball and I tripped. And on one end of I did, and I went down. And I think every time you injure your elbow, I injure mine. It must be this cord connection we have. I don't know.
For sure.
And so, but I hit my elbow, my hip, and my knee, but I bounced right back up so fast. And it only stung a little bit. But everybody was so sweet because they're like, do you need a minute? I'm like, no. I was like the dog at the dinner table. I was running for every ball. I was running for everything. So, but I bounced back up and I didn't have a bruise. I had maybe a little red mark on my elbow, but nothing resonated after. Like there was no residual. And I was like, oh my God, this is good. So sometimes like a little fall gets you in check, doesn't it?
Yeah, reminds you. Oh, every time I stumble or, I did have that bad fall, but I'm a little bit clumsy. So is my mom. And I'm always amazed at how great my reflexes are. Even with my fall, my reflexes were amazing. And how I'm stretched out because I'm a yogi. So I don't ever touch wood. I don't pull things,
It's so important because that's what most people, as we get older, the injuries are from there's not much flexibility. Everything's pulled. There's muscle spasms. There's it's muscle or tissue damage. And sometimes that's worse than a break.
Yeah.
So that's stretching out the yoga. My gosh, I love doing yoga.
Yeah, we're going to do lots of yoga in Italy.
I know. So how else are you investing in yourself?
So we've got the health, the body piece, which is important. And I feel like culturally and in our society, that's like part of our conversation. I think physical health is number one that people talk about and invest in. And then the eating wise comes second. They think about it as an afterthought. And then the inner world is even in more afterthought after that, like knowing yourself and how you think and why you have the judgments and the fears and there's trauma. Most of us do have PTSD. I hate to use that term, but a lot of us do have trauma from, childhood or different things that are kind of stuck inside. And so, the meditation for me also goes with, because to me, the reason why we meditate is to notice how many thoughts we have. That's really why you sit and meditate. It's like, I got all thoughts. Well, that's very good for you to notice, because usually you're running around in the day and you don't realize how many thoughts. You think your thoughts just start when you close your eyes at night, or when you close your eyes to meditate. The thoughts are always going in the background, running like a virus in your life, right? If you read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, that's usually what we both recommend to people to become aware of. You. There's many voices in your head. And it's a lot of times your mind is like a bad roommate. That's what Michael Singer says, telling you awful stuff. And you would never listen to a lot of the stuff that you tell yourself about, right? So learning that there are many different voices in your head, but there's only one choice maker, and you actually decide what you believe and what you want to pay attention to. Before you realize that, it's kind of whatever has the most energy or Velcro at the time. Like if you're going through a depression or some moods, you're going to kind of believe your thoughts that I'm not good enough and I can't, what am I doing with my life? And all those thoughts that don't really help you in the present moment, right? So really knowing yourself in those thoughts. And that's what this woman that I was talking about was referring to, was that's what she found so difficult. And then, like you were saying, anything that we do new is difficult.
That's right. And I even look at it like when you're even investing, like, we invest in stocks or bonds or retirement funds. And then if we play around with it, we're looking at what's making money or I'm not going to invest in that now. That seems to be, not so good anymore. I better change that. We don't have any problem changing it. We just go, I must change that, especially as we get to know the market a little bit. So it's the same with ourselves. The value you place on, well, if I don't know enough about that one, maybe I should learn about it. Maybe I should enroll in a course and study a little bit more on this. Or, like during COVID, when I enrolled at Yale online and studied the psychology of well-being, right? I went, wow, you can teach an old dog new tricks, like this is good. This is good. Really good stuff. And stirring the muck, right? Stirring our old junk and our old thoughts and getting rid of what doesn't serve you anymore. Maybe it's an old belief system. Like it's really good to do that. It's a reinvestment. It's maybe you don't like the color of your house anymore and you want to paint that. It's the first thing you're looking at driving up. Like little shifts and changes and what you're placing value on. But when it comes to yourself, it's easy to change the color of your house and the paint, but what does it do for you really? What does it change?
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the distinction that I share with people, and I do want to go back to anything you start that you first start is difficult, like anything. But also I wanted to say that, I've got lost it now. So let's go back to anything you start new. So it's like anything anybody starts new. I tell my nephew that, and my niece is like, because they were getting ready to start their first jobs in the last few years and to apply for jobs for the first time. And I'm like, listen, if I had to apply for a job, I would be nervous. Anything we do new for the first time, like even to like, I remember when I would be singing for years, and if I was going to sing a new song, remember how nerve-wracking it was the first time you sang a new song on stage? And that you'd been singing for years on stage. So anything we do new is always going to cause a little anxiety, a little nervousness, and that's normal. And so it's the same thing with learning this new way of looking at life, taking responsibility for your inner world, knowing that your belief systems were programmed into you, and taking a look at those. It's what we call self-inquiry, is really taking responsibility for your inner world and knowing yourself, knowing the tape recorders. And that, like anything else, is hard when you first start doing it, but then it does get easier. Like I've spent my whole life. Now, you don't have to spend all your time and attention like I do. Like I did a 30-day silent retreat when I was 27. That's just what I'm into. And that's why I teach it and share it. But whatever you focus on grows. So if you're spending all your time and attention on working out, but you're not eating healthy, it's kind of like that metaphor of putting sugar in a high-powered sports car, you know. And so it's the same thing with your inner world. If you're focused on eating perfectly healthy, but you're not knowing yourself and knowing why you have judgments or fears or take things personally too often, and start really, because there's nothing outside of yourself. And I know that's a hard one to get, but anything that happens in your life is happening for you to understand yourself better.
Yes,
And
it's all interconnected.
mm-hmm.
The physical, the emotional, the nutritional, it's all interconnected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the comment that our friend Lissa would make, she doesn't say this much anymore, but the first 3 years I worked with her, she'd be like, why do I have to spend all this time and even the money if she went to see a naturopath, like the time and the money on all this natural stuff? And I'm like, you spend time and money on other things without a problem, on music gear or whatever. And it's just she's not used to, and she hasn't realized the return on her investment, but now she does.
Yes, this lovely, beautiful guitar, right? We go, oh my gosh, your guitar sounds so much better than mine. Why is that? Well, I put more money into it. It's a higher quality. It's got really good strings.
I practice
has
a lot.
tone. It resonates. I took lessons. I practice. It gets played.
Yeah.
It's like the same with the body. Motion is lotion. You keep moving it. We sit around too much, but we don't have to run 100 miles a day. We don't have to do every marathon that comes at us when we're athletes. The body, as we get older, we're at this point now, we go, what am I placing value on now?
Mm-hmm.
What's serving me?
Yeah.
I'm serving, but what's my inner world really enjoying?
Yeah. And outer world, you were talking about the physical body. It's like, if you start to get stiff, like, oh, maybe I should, move a little more in the morning or whatever. It's like,
yes,
everything's the world is giving you constant feedback. You always say our body's like this dashboard. And really when people say, well, what kind of meditation technique should I do? I'm like, or they'll say, I already meditate. How do I know if it's a good technique for me? I'm like, the way you know if food is working for you, if exercise is working for you, if your meditation is working for you, if your life coach is working for you, is how are you doing? Are you doing well? Are you seeing progress? Are you doing better than you were 6 months ago? Or are you staying the same or going backwards? I was on a hike with a friend of Jamina's, her and this guy who I taught how to meditate like 10 years ago. And he's been doing this macrobiotic. He's got a lot of health issues and he's been doing a macrobiotic. And I said something about Eddie putting me on keto. And I said, then my body stopped. It was amazing for 8 months. And then my body stopped responding. And Eddie said, okay, it's time to stop now. And he goes, oh, I feel like my body stopped responding to macrobiotic like a long time ago. And I still keep doing it.
I know. And I did macrobiotic. It's funny when you said that because I was making twig tea and it was really wonderful, but it was years and years ago. And I said, okay, I wonder when this is going to be done. And then because I was not enjoying it anymore. And that's when I went, I guess right now. Because I've done this for 2 months and I know how to do all these amazing recipes and I can use arrowroot powder and, agar flakes. And I knew what to use. And I went, okay, I've learned.
Yeah.
And then keto comes along and then there's paleo and then there's gluten-free and there's dairy-free. So, there's so many diet plans, Mediterranean diet. So, yeah, your body will tell you. And it's same with running. I can't tell you. I ran. I did several marathons. And when I was 44, I went, I think this is my last marathon. It was the Tom King one in Tennessee. And it was my last one. And I decided that 3 miles before the finish line. And do you know, for 2 miles before the finish line, I thought my hips were going to fall off my body. Only because I allowed myself, okay, you're done now. You're done. So, but it's different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
there are some consistencies with just your lifestyle. So you place value on living a healthy life, that there's some joy, there's gratitude, you're savoring, you're learning, there's
And
just
if something is not right, like there's that wheel. You ever do that wheel? I used to do it when I first started doing life coaching. I don't anymore because I can just get a gist when I talk to people. But I got this wheel. I think it was in massage school actually, where so there's a pie, and then you slice it. You do this a lot in college. There's different. There's slice the pie into eight even slices, and then one is your abundance, one is your mental health, one is your physical health, one is your diet, one is your emotional well-being and your relationships. And then it's like, if you get close to the center, that's like 0 and out is 10. And you color in what level you think you are, and from 0 to 10 is your emotional well-being and your relationships or whatever it is. And then you can see where you're out of balance and where you're in balance. Because a lot of people, what happens is they put on auto mode, and then they don't take stock of where they are at, and they keep doing things over and over and getting the same results and not changing, and then wondering about why their life isn't better in an area. It's because your time and attention has not been. If I plant my garden and then I take all kinds of care in planting it and watering it and everything, and then I don't go out and look at it for a month, everything will be dead. And it's the same with our life. If there's anything that's a weakness in your life, and a relationship, or if you're starting a business and it's not having much momentum, or think about where you're putting your time and attention. Have you been ignoring that? I promise it'll work every single time.
I love the garden analogy, because I had a guy in my clinic the other day, and he said, he works in construction, just a great guy, someone you wouldn't think would get it, but got it. And he said, I built this amazing greenhouse. And I said, really? He said, yeah, my wife said, you're building a greenhouse. You don't even know if you like gardening. He said, no, I know I'm going to like gardening. And she said, you don't even eat good food. No, I'm going to eat good food. I've gone to Eddie. I'm going to apply this. And he said, I saw you. And he was in for his recheck the other day. And he said, I built an A-frame greenhouse. I said, oh my God, Corrine would go crazy. She would love that. And he said, and I put a sitting area in it. And I go out and I sit down. He said, there's not one weed growing in any of my herbs and everything I've planted. There's not one weed. And I said, so what does that say to you about you? And he said, well, I'm tending to my garden. And he said, you said that, tend to your being like you would your garden. And those weeds that you get to know them too. And the ones you need to pluck them out, get them out, throw them out, get them done. But they're coming back.
Yeah. Yep, they will come back. So you got to keep tending it.
Yep, we keep tending it and tending it. And next thing you know, it's the same with thoughts. Next thing you know, they don't have the heavy hit, because now we're going, I know you're coming, but this isn't the time or place. I don't want you here. And it's beautiful. So he said, I've gotten a little OCD now with my greenhouse, but he goes, it's amazing. I love it. And I said, and he said, I feel so good. I'm fueling my body.
Yeah.
And now my mind from what I've created. So I'm like, I was so proud of him. And, we were talking for like 40 minutes about his greenhouse.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
But it's joyful, and there's so many lessons in it, it's just
so many metaphors, so many lessons.
So many. And he's tending to his inner being as well.
Yeah. Because people don't realize that they have a choice of what they decide to focus on. People don't realize that they're not their thoughts. I mean, I don't like to use that too much, because that took me 40 years of study in present moment meditation to get. So please, if you're listening to this and you are like, it's a many layered realization and way of being, but it's like, just even to notice that you have full 100% control over what you decide to focus on. And you just forget, and you're like, your mind goes and you forget, but you're focusing when something's really important to you, you will focus on. I remember I was driving, a lot of times you'll take a call when you're driving, even though it's not legal in Canada, but it is here in the US, or I guess it is illegal to do hands-free.
Hands-free.
Right. And so, we all drive when we talk on the phone all the time, but I got a call that I really needed to pay attention to. And so I pulled over on the side of the road so I wouldn't miss anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to do that too. Because when I'm really interested in something, I zone in. That's why when I'm in my clinic talking to people, it's one-on-one, and there's a lot more I'm hearing, what they're saying, what's coming into my head, what I'm feeling. But if you're distracted with a bunch of different things, you're not really hearing it.
Yeah. No,
You know?
multitasking is a myth.
Yeah. Yeah. You can drive really well, but driving, talking, putting your makeup on,
Exactly.
yeah,
And
having
then
an
you just get,
argument.
and
Yeah.
then there's this part of yourself that's not there. It's like, instead of being 100% fully present in the moment, you've got, 25% of yourself doing your makeup, 50% of yourself driving, and 25% of yourself talking on the phone. So none of it's getting your full attention. So how can you do anything very well? Now, they do say 2% of the population can multitask. And when you say that, usually everybody that's listening to that thinks that they're the ones that can multitask. So, yeah,
2%.
yeah, I actually can multitask.
You are a good multitasker.
Yeah, but I also do love being fully present, like, and being just doing one thing too. Like I really enjoy both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. I have a family that can hear 10 conversations at once. I'm totally zoned in on the one conversation.
Yeah.
And then, it would always get me in trouble because someone would say, "Didn't you hear that?" I wasn't listening to you. I was listening to this one, So yeah.
Yeah.
You got to know who you are. You got to know your own muck.
Yeah. So that, that really more bang for your muck to me means, wherever you put your attention, that's what's going to grow. So take a look, take stock in your life. What are your repetitive thoughts? What are your mantras that are positive and what are negative, and look at, or where is the part of your life where you feel you'd like improvement? Well, it's not going to improve if you don't pay attention to it and come up with some solutions and spend time and attention on it.
It's like it's like having a great garden and you grow the things that you eat. That's awesome. You're saving a ton of money. You're investing in food. You're buying groceries because you want to buy organic berries instead. So, you're going to get more value because that's what you value.
Yeah.
But if somebody says, I don't care what kind of strawberries are strawberries. I don't get, I'd rather buy this and this and this instead. I'd rather, buy a book that I can have in my hand, or we make a list of what it is we feel is valuable to how we invest.
Right.
That's different.
Well, that's the thing, is that so you can value whatever you want, but make sure your list of your values matches where you're putting your attention on. And I guarantee you that there's going to be some missing parts, because first of all, happiness and joy and a good life is going to be on everybody's list on the planet. Absolutely. Right. And now the thing is, though, is it's lasting happiness. So temporary, satisfaction or happiness, I don't say it's happiness, but some people do, is, the trip we're going on to Sicily, we're excited about it. It's going to be fun, but it's not what makes me happy. I'm already happy. So helping people realize, and that's what was my journey, is that lasting happiness that I own, that's within me, that's there even when I'm upset.
Yes.
It's accessible even when I'm upset. And so I don't stay upset for very long, because that joy and that peace comes back in fairly quickly. Now that's after doing a hell of a lot of work my whole life to get there.
Well, because you have, and so have I. There's a lot of people that when they say, all I want is to be happy. How many times have we heard that? And I'm like, well, why don't we choose a few minutes here now and sit with it and be happy? Let's find something to make both of us happy. Because it, like you keep saying, and I agree with you all the time, it is within ourselves.
It's only within.
When people say, when I retire, I'll be happy, I'm like, you need to be happy before you retire.
Now.
now.
because that's the only place that it is.
That's it. So this seeking, like we had that on another podcast, the quest for happiness or happiness and hormones. Happiness is going to be in every single topic we're going to talk about.
Yeah, because it's our innate nature.
Yes.
It's who we are. But
Yes.
we get very covered up before we become aware of this mindfulness and that you are the happiness you seek. Before you become aware of that, you are spending your time and attention, and you're not necessarily valuing, but you're unconsciously spending time and attention on your thoughts, feelings, emotions, judgments, fears, on the chaos that your mind, all of our mind is, even my mind, we all have that 65 to 85,000 thoughts in a day. It's if you decide to believe them and what you decide to focus on.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes none of them are any of ours.
Right. Yeah.
A little collection, a little bunch of muck.
Yeah. Yeah. All the muck. And so, the more you invest time and attention and your energy into the different parts that you value. So make a list on the right of what are the things that you value in your life,
Take
stock. Yeah, take stock. And then see where your time and attention is with those specific, how much time and attention do I? So if there's any place where you're like, I want more happiness, well, I'm not spending time on figuring out my inner peace and happiness, then that's where you've got to spend your time. If your health isn't very good, where you want it to be, then are you spending much time on your food? I mean, that's especially for working single moms. I mean, there's, as a cook myself, and you're a cook too, I feel for people that don't like to cook. They don't like to cook. They don't like to shop. So hard.
It is.
Right. And we're single working moms.
Yeah, it's tough. My daughter's a single working mom, and she loves to cook.
That's good that she loves. Yeah. Well, she learned that from you and your husband, your ex-husband too. You're both good cooks.
Yep. Well, she loves to cook, and that's peace of mind for her,
when she's like a meditation. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is great. It's great for everybody. It's sometimes people say they don't love to cook and find out later in life they do.
Yeah.
They get in the kitchen and go, well, I never liked using white flour and white sugar and all the other ingredients. I never liked to cook, but now that I'm eating healthier, I love what I'm creating because I'm using foods that they're out of the norm, and I'm creating these amazing dishes, and makes me feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the pain outweighs, or the avoidance outweighs the pleasure of it once they just start. But what would you say? I've got this one client, I've been working with her for a while, and she's a single working mom. She's got 2 young boys, 9 and 10. And she's a nurse. She works really hard, and she's like a hospice type nurse. So it's a lot, very high emotional, and she does not like to cook at all. And she's getting better. We've been working together, but I sent her this link in Instagram, how we send each other things. And it was of this woman who did a really easy meal prep, because so in my mind, this is easy. You go Sunday, you chop all your vegetables, put them in a bin, and she showed them how to label it. And then you can put all these amazing meals together just by spending an hour shopping and maybe an hour and a half chopping and putting stuff. I was like, oh, this is great. She'll love this. And she sent me back a video that was like this mother saying, I spent 3 days this week cooking and cleaning for the family, and the kids were so picky they wouldn't eat it, so I just found out that I had more left, like more, was throwing away food more and had more dishes, so I decided to stop cooking. Because when your kids are picky eaters. And then when she said that to me, I'm like, you know what, do it for you then.
Yeah,
do it for you.
Yes.
And she did agree with that. I don't know if she'll follow through with it, but there's one thing at a time. When I talk to her and other people, it's like, I've got to find out where she's interested in doing some shifts. And she has done a lot of shifts in the past year. She's a totally different than she was. We've actually mostly done the inner work with her that's really helped her to not believe in her thoughts and stuff. And she is one that doesn't even meditate, but we've done a lot of other things. She's listened to podcasts and stuff, and we've talked a lot, and her mental health is so much better than it was.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. It's just every day, just every day working a tiny little bit, just a little bit on what you are interested in, what you want to improve on, what would you feel would really benefit you long term. As we're getting older, one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself and to everyone around you is your own good health. So even if you're dealing with health issues, We want to have less issues in our tissues. So
Mhm.
it takes a little more effort, or
Mhm.
sometimes it's not even work. Sometimes it's just a different lane we jump in to go,
Mhm.
I could try that. Let me try putting this, or I might try walking every day. Maybe I'll do, there's just take baby steps if it's
Baby
difficult.
steps, exactly. It doesn't change, doesn't happen. But what I
Yeah.
love is the momentum of things. Like whatever we do every day grows. And so what happens with people is when they get on the treadmill of life and they work every day and they're not happy every day, and every day they don't exercise, and every day they don't eat healthy. And then
Mhm.
after 5 years, then depression and anxiety set in because they haven't spent any time on changing the way they do things to
Mhm.
help cultivate, the time and energy and investing in their health and happiness.
Well,
And that's when they come to see people like us. We're like, they're everybody's bottom is different, that they want
mhm.
to make changes and they're ready to make the changes. And I just,
Yeah.
I know I just have seen so many people with miraculous results recently. It's just so fulfilling for me to have somebody come in and they're so sort of distraught and maybe even hopeless when they come to see me and they've tried everything. And really
Mhm.
within a few weeks or a month, everything starts to turn around. And it's not like they might not take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back, but the momentum is there and the change is happening. And it's just I just
I
love it.
know.
I just
I
love
do
it.
too. I love that. That gives me so much joy too, to see, I say to my patients, you're my walking billboards.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you make me so happy. I look at you, I look at like bundles of sunshine coming at me. And when people say, oh, thank you for saying this, I'm like, I don't even remember what I said to you. I just know you did whatever I said, because, or whatever clicked with you, or whatever you found. Maybe I was just the drop, the seed, and it grew, because
But
it
they do all
takes,
the work.
they do
That's
all
what
the
I said
work.
when people thank us. We're like, I'm glad that I was there as a messenger for you and what I said resonated, but
Yeah.
you did all the hard work.
Yeah, you did all the hard work. It's like this darling with his garden. And he said, here I am, big macho construction guy, and now I'm happy over I've got like cucumbers that could win prizes at festivals. And, and he goes,
So cool.
here's all my buddies drinking beer and hanging out in the sheds, and I'm in my garden pulling weeds. It gives me so much joy. I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. I said, you could still go and enjoy, you know, hanging in the shed and having beers. But if that's every single day, that gets old too.
Yeah.
You know, it does. And that's beautiful connections.
Yeah.
Hanging in the shed and having the beers, and or going on trips or going to cabins, or what people do and travel. But it does change, because
Yeah.
as we get older, we start to reevaluate how much alcohol can be consumed, really how much junk food can be eaten, how much life we have to be lived. And then we go, whoa, time, energy, health, well-being. Hang on here. I have to reevaluate again.
Yeah. It's a constant reevaluating. You don't just
Absolutely.
try one thing and keep it forever.
That's right.
It's constantly changing.
It changes in our 50s. It changes again in your 60s. It changes in
Mhm.
your 70s.
Well, and it changes weekly. I mean, what I do for breakfast typically changes seasonally. I tend
Absolutely.
to want fruit and yogurt and nuts and smoothies in the summertime only. I
Yes.
don't want any of that stuff in the winter,
No, and when the
and
when the temperature gets cold, I want to bake. I
yeah,
start looking at pumpkin puree, my cloves, spices. You know what I mean? We
yeah.
we start, yeah, we change with the
Yeah.
seasons.
And the body
And
will naturally, there's a reason why the body it starts craving, those specific spices
yeah,
or those specific foods that are more
yeah,
nourishing to you.
that's right. And seasonally, where you are, you have really hot temperatures still in Nashville. We're getting cooler temperatures here now in Newfoundland. So, the foods are changing,
Hmm.
and we tend to eat the foods that it's changing too. So we,
Hmm.
go into the fall, and it's turnip greens and
Hmm.
squashes and root vegetables, right? So we
Hmm.
go, ooh, root, hardy, grounding, yummy,
Hmm.
earth, warm, make soups, stews,
And
and
it feels
make
good when it's
feels
cold,
so good. It does. And then when the summer comes around, we're like shedding clothes and we're making, cool salads and smoothies and spritzers and cucumber water and
Mhm.
So being in tune to yourself, to what you don't have to think too far ahead. Just stay in the moment, stay
Mhm.
in the day that you're in, and just
Yeah.
ask yourself, what do I need? What am I feeling today?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Take that time.
Yeah.
Take that
Time and
time.
attention.
Yeah. Feel into it. Do some inquiry. Go deep.
Go deep. That's what we like to do, is we like to go deep.
Go deep.
Yeah. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you, Ken.
It's a beautiful.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see you up here in Newfoundland.
I know. The next time we do a podcast, hopefully I'm putting together the recording equipment that I'm going to take, that we'll do one from hopefully Newfoundland, and then Sicily, and maybe New York. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? Wherever we stop along the way, life is a journey.
Yeah. So wherever you are, I hope you're investing in your health and your wealth and your happiness. And listening to this is doing just that.
Yes. Come join us. We feel you at the dinner table.
And share this. If you find this podcast helpful, please go ahead and subscribe or follow us and share it with your friends, because that's how we can help more people and continue to connect with you all and record and share information.
And I had a lovely friend, Kim, who said, I listened to your podcast, and she sent a little message. She said, I'm having lunch with you guys today. I'm listening to your podcast. Like,
oh, I love it. Gigi sends me messages like that too. She's like, I feel I'm back at Ivy House.
I know.
So that's so great. That's so great. Well, until we meet again, be yourself.
Be kind.
Be in the moment.
Be valued.
Value yourself in the moment.
Welcome to WO50.
Did you forget our line?